right, and looks like we are live. Fantastic. Yay. Yeah, I'm here with Cecilia Uhr. Good to have you here.
Thanks.
How you feeling?
I'm really nervous.
She's really nervous, guys.
I'm not gonna lie.
Trust me, everybody in the chat's like really mean too, so you have a right to be nervous. Like especially Voodoo Val, with a name like Voodoo Val.
Yeah.
Don't cross her.
She
Just
was
don't cross
asking you
her.
for a handstand, right?
I will do one. By day 3, things are kind of off the rails, so stick around for that one. But an appropriate name, Voodoo Val, that's what you get. That's her moniker. And
She
appropriate
likes it.
for
He's happy
today, especially
Cool.
Halloween.
Totally.
So welcome.
Thank
It's
you.
your
Thanks
first
for having
time.
me.
It's your first time at Adobe.
It is, yeah.
Yeah. So
Exciting.
yeah, I mean we have so many things to talk about, but welcome everybody. You get to check out the offices, see all these people in costumes. What you don't know is people are in costumes year round. It's not just a today thing.
That's what I heard. I heard it's the most modest today.
Yeah, exactly. This is the day we dress up the least amount compared to the rest of the year.
Understandable.
So it is good. Well, welcome. I'm really happy to have you here. Tell us about yourself. We know you as a designer. I know you live here in the Bay Area, right?
Yeah, so I'm a designer from Toronto, actually. So I went to school there, and then I moved to San Francisco for my first job.
Okay.
So I've been here for like about 2.5 years, I'd say.
Okay.
And then in the last, a couple weeks, I took some time off, went to Japan and Korea, did some trips, ate
That's
a lot.
awesome.
And then now I'm back.
And now you're back. You're
this.
like, how do I work the
Yeah,
computer?
like, what is this
how do
keyboard?
What is this
I
keyboard?
swear I forgot all my shortcuts.
That's awesome. Who does that? First of all, you came from an awesome place because I love Toronto.
It's really awesome.
Yeah. And moved to another cool city.
Yeah, totally.
Worked for an agency here for a bit. And you're like, you know what? I think I'm going to go on some adventures.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like everyone deserves, like, a break after working for a couple of years.
I know, right? Who needs a break?
So it was nice.
So anybody from Toronto out there, or maybe Japan, I don't know, as far away as Korea, would love to hear where you're from.
Oh, there's
Kevin,
a
I don't know if
from
I know where
Calgary.
you live, by the way. Ooh, we could do a scary out-of-the-box packaging. Who knows? We got another Canadian, Elizabeth Hack from Calgary.
Kathy is my friend who also works on Behance, and she's from Canada.
Oh, really? Nice.
Shout out.
Oh, she's your friend on Behance?
Yeah, no, she...
Colombia in the house? Oh, Alejandro.
That's
Awesome.
exciting.
As far away as Norway, Iraq. He's from Iraq. I don't know if he's in Iraq right now. As far away as California, Helen. Beirut. Big Sky Country, Montana.
Wow.
So we're just watching the names roll in.
Yeah, there's
Seattle,
a lot.
Drew, welcome. Ryan Ford. Awesome.
Voodoo
Belarus,
Val.
Nadia, thank you. And if it's your first time, we'd always love to hear. Again, it is your first time, so we just want to make everybody feel at home.
Totally.
Connecticut, Portland in the house, of course. Awesome. Morocco, Bangladesh, Germany, Bolivia, Dubai, Bogota.
Wow,
Love
literally
Bogota.
all
I'm
over
gonna
the
drink my
world.
coffee as we talk about Colombia. Right? Or Venezuela has coffee. Venezuela.
So, a shot every time?
The what?
A shot
A shot
of coffee
every
time?
Yeah, why not? I don't. And we'll get done in like 45 minutes in a 2-hour stream. 45 minutes. 'Cause we're on coffee.
Cool.
So welcome. So yeah, let's talk about today. We're gonna do some packaging design things. What are your ideas? Got an idea today?
Yeah, kind of like a rough idea, I'd say. So I mean, you don't, as a designer, like working full time, you don't really get to pick the projects that you really want to do most of the time. So I decided to have some fun with this one, and then do something that you would probably never get in an agency, or if you do, you're working at like a great agency.
Yeah.
But I decided to focus on a fictional new startup that makes space food for space travelers.
That's cool. Space food for space travelers. Are we talking, is this in the future?
It's totally in the future.
We're living in the future now.
Like
This is so
2050? No, that's not even in the future.
Yeah, it's everybody's vision of the future is like you show up. No, really, 1999. Yeah, nothing. Yeah, fine. Like
Yeah.
really, wow. So,
Yeah, so it'll be exciting. I was kind of like,
can we show your screen? What do you think?
yes,
Oh,
yeah, totally.
Very
Can
nice.
you see it now? Okay, cool. So I'll just kind of read it. So it says, of Earth, which is a name that I came up with, it took a long time, is a new startup focusing on the outer space travel industry. They design and prepare quality food for space travelers and astronauts. So that's kind of like the big gist of what this is. And then in finer print down there, it says, Of Earth is looking for a brand identity system, an application for its wide range of food items that are designed to be consumed in space. So I kind of like set the target audience as like, someone between 24 to 40 in age who are interested in space.
Even though by then people are living to 120.
Totally.
Right?
Yeah,
like
yeah,
everybody.
Maybe like even 200.
Yeah, maybe even 200. So these are for the youngins. Like, oh,
the
you're
babies.
only 40? Oh, I would love for somebody to just tell me I'm only 43. Only 43.
And they're also interested in traveling outside of their comfort zone.
Yeah. I love it.
Sorry, I'm like reading the comments.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you could do that.
So there's a lot of strict regulations when it comes to packaging space food, which I don't really know like a lot about, but I kind of did some research, and then there's like little things like it needs to be freeze dried. They need to be in vacuum sealed bags so that loose food items aren't like floating everywhere. And then the packaging needs to be lightweight to ensure freshness and portability. So these are kind of like the constraints that I'm going to be keeping in my mind. Usually when we're actually working with a client, they'll have a whole longer list of constraints and things that we should keep in mind.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely like when it comes to shipping and the technical aspects of the packaging is like huge.
Yeah, just the logistics of everything,
Yeah, but I like the idea of it because I definitely see the future as everything, living in a package. And then you just like add a drop of water and then rotisserie chicken.
Exactly.
That's what it seems like, right?
Yeah.
Powder. And then you grab the correct, like, sort of liquid. Maybe it's a generic powder. And you're like, I think I'm going to turn this into, a fish. Boom, fish. That's awesome. So packaging, huge in the future. You are just, like, forging ahead into the great unknown.
Yeah, I mean, I have no idea what I'm doing, so hopefully we can figure it out together.
Yeah, fake it.
Yeah.
That's all.
Fake
That's
it
all.
till I make
We're
it.
going to fake it till we make it. Let's do this.
So I kind of like came up with some keywords. So I was thinking that keywords for this brand should be exciting because it's something that's, as we talked about, unknown. The food, although it's probably not like 100% fresh, it needs to feel like it's fresh. And then we're assuming that people, there's a lot of assumptions here, but people who are going on these space travels and like purchasing these foods would have a certain amount of income or savings, so we should kind of like focus on it feeling premium, and it's also gonna feel innovative and new and kind of technology.
That's good. So definitely like exciting, fresh, premium, innovative. Like you're kind of mimicking that with the green, like sort of this fresh aspect.
Totally. Yeah.
I like it. And then the tone of voice.
The tone of voice, yeah, I just wanted it to kind of feel matter of fact, so just like stating what's in there, like in the packaging of food. I want it to feel honest as well. That kind of like goes hand in hand with matter of fact voice. And then I want the graphics to feel a little bit more playful, just to counter that matter of fact like statement of what's inside. So that's kind of like the 3 keywords that I identified.
Yeah. And that's where I think I think it's interesting that if we looked at packaging today, it's going through just like, it's the trends we're at now with packaging is really interesting. Definitely honest, matter of fact. So those 3 things I see is kind of what's happening with packaging today, don't you think?
Yeah, it's true. Like I feel like people are more aware, or consumers are more aware of what they're putting in their bodies. So they kind of want to see all of that on the packaging. So there's like a lot of things happening with granola bars or like juices where it's like a juice bottle and then there's 5 ingredients that are in there and nothing else.
Yeah, we can. Maybe I can switch to it. Boom. But anyway, so
yeah,
this
like
is
something like
since
that.
you just mentioned this.
So I feel like it's definitely like on trend right now, and it kind of like makes a consumer believe in what they're purchasing and putting in their bodies.
Yeah, that's so good. I totally want to try this one. I haven't tried this one yet.
Yeah,
Pumpkin
today.
spice.
You should
I
try
should
it
try
today.
it today. And then it's like, what flavors are we gonna have in the future? Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know how natural that feels. But what if there is a new flavor that's discovered? Like we just now recently all of a sudden have pink chocolate. If you've seen that,
Like strawberry chocolate?
it's like pink chocolate. Chocolate. That's all right. Let's Google it together.
Yeah. Of course, it's millennial pink.
Yeah,
Oh,
millennial
wow.
pink chocolate. So this is like, I don't know what berry it is, but
Yeah.
again, this is sort of the idea of like, hey, this is a new ingredient that now, like, so again, the future kind of leaves it up to our imagination.
Yeah.
It's
that's
look
quite
weird. It
cool.
looks weird though, huh? It's like, who knows what it really. So it's a ruby chocolate. So
Yeah.
anyway, is anybody getting hungry or what? Oh, and it should be sustainable. That's good. Like, what happens to the package? Does it serve another purpose or what?
Totally. So I think like some of the things that we could do for a sustainable package is like, for example, if we're like, I think we're going to be doing beverage packaging in some point as well. So if you package like, you know, an orange juice, after they're done consuming the orange juice that's inside the packaging, that receptacle, or what is that called? The container could become like a water bottle, you know, of some sort. So it could have a second life. Unfortunately, I don't think we can make everything out of paper, just because it needs to be vacuum sealed in a plastic container. So there's like kind of like, you know, you have to give and take, basically.
No, that is good. It's fun to think about, like
It totally is. I mean, it's open.
Yeah. Then again, you just watched Passengers,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
that's probably influenced by that movie a little bit. I'm going to design along with you. So what was the brand name again?
It's called Of Earth.
Of Earth.
Yeah. I swear the name took actually the longest time to come up with.
Really?
Because I'm just not a copywriter and I was trying to be one. It was really hard.
Got it. Of Earth. So that's our brand. They're willing to pay you billions of bitcoins.
Yes.
That's the currency of
and
the future
Ethereum,
now.
and
Ooh, and
Litecoins.
Ethereum. What's Ethereum from?
It's
Is that what Frodo's magical? Oh no, that is Etheria. He had the magical cloak that was impenetrable. Was
Is that
something
called?
else?
Oh, okay.
Something similar in
It was
name.
a long time ago.
Okay, so Juan, this is what people typically do. This is an issue an issue. Like anytime you have a little, like first of all, that's exactly where I would go. It's like, okay, you'd make an earth out of the O. That might be a good place to start. But people make that mistake because anytime you mess with the first or last letter, it almost starts to be illegible. Like you could almost mess with this stuff all day long, but keep the outside ones.
I think
intact.
you're completely right. Because
Don't
if
you
if you mess with the first or the last letter, as you said,
Yeah.
it kind of like starts to feel more like a symbol than a part of the word.
Yeah.
So I think you need to be really careful when you're doing that. I was kind of like thinking of messing with the E in Earth because that's kind of like in the middle enough that if you make little tweaks to it, it would still read as Earth. Or you know, it's just like playing with the O but putting it somewhere else, like wild ideas. But I think there's something interesting we could do with the word mark.
Yeah. So this is all I'm going to do. Like as we design, oh, you have more going on there. This is so fun. I want to switch back. Your screen is so sexy. Look at those sexy graphics. Is that pink chocolate? Is that pink chocolate?
Maybe it could be marble. It could be chocolate.
Is this
it
chocolate
could
from
be
the future?
whatever you want it to be. Yeah. So I kind of like threw together a pretty quick mood board. What I like to do when I'm putting together a look and feel mood board is I try to put a few like graphic design pieces in there that I'm inspired by, but I also like to put in photography, sculpture, art, paintings, all that stuff, because I feel like that's really important for me to not get stuck in one style. It's while that's like, you know, it's good to look at inspiration, I don't want to be replicating something without me even knowing, because that's kind of, I feel like that's a danger that every designer faces.
Yeah, you're
So-
right. Like sometimes doing research for a specific, it can be dangerous. Like, you don't want to be influenced too much by what you research.
Exactly.
So that's why your research is so broad.
It is, yeah.
It's cool taking things from, whether it's architecture or photography or what.
Yeah, so I literally have, you know, everything here. So here I kind of like the bold colors that that this graphic design piece had, kind of juxtaposed against grays and like neutral colors. So I think like to make something pop, I think that might be an interesting way to go. Here, I feel like this was pretty futuristic, and then maybe, as I was saying, like in of Earth, like E could be made of like these circles or something like that. So
it's really cool.
That could be extracted and used as like a separate symbol whenever you need a responsive logo, like in small applications or what.
Yes. And all the while keeping in mind the keywords, right?
Totally.
And the tone of voice.
So I think this could be, you know, like innovative or like technology, all that stuff.
Yeah, it's very like future leaning kind of. It's kind of neat.
Yeah, it's really cool, whoever did that. And then I kind of like the zero gravity feel of the donuts here. I think that's something that's interesting, where we can make like the letters in the logo or word mark kind of like look like they're floating organically. And then I like the metallic fluidity of this image. I think it would be interesting to kind of explore that material option when it comes to packaging. So whether we're using like holographic foil or like silver or gold foil, whatnot, it'd be fun to do that.
Yeah.
And then here I just kind of like the gradients and the overlap of transparencies almost. It had like a nice graphic angle to it, and it just like felt like a really nice balance of colors. And this one I think I really like this E for whatever reason. I think it just has a really nice interplay of like points and also curves, and it just feels really cool. Solid.
Yeah.
So I like that feeling of it. And then this one, it felt kind of spacey. It was black and white. It was really graphic. I think that's something we can explore in our word mark or symbol. This one, it just like the stones kind of reminded me of like Earth, but in a more modern sense, where it's like not dirt, but it's more gem, granite, marble, all that stuff. So I think that texture could be interesting to play around with.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, thank you Voodoo Val as well for helping out, because again, this is your mood board and talking about your inspiration, which again, immediate things sort of start to come to mind, everything kind of based on everything you just said. So there's like lots of different directions we can go.
Totally. Yeah.
And I'm going there.
Oh, cool. You're trying stuff out.
Yes, I am.
That's awesome.
I'm going to use... So we'll be showing you some tips. I'm actually an Illustrator. I'm actually going to try this. So I have a number of scripts, and when you were pointing out one of these, like this S being made up of circles, I actually downloaded this script. I haven't actually worked with it in a bit, but it's circle fill, so we'll take any shape and fill it with circles. So we'll try awesome. This. Circle fill. Max size is 20% of the total size. That's still pretty large. I'll drop that down to like 10. Minimum size, 3. No minimum distance. Click OK. And now I filled it with circles.
That's actually really useful.
Right? And that would just take so much time otherwise, and I can still remove that background. So
that's
kind of cool, huh?
Yeah.
So it's called Circle Fill. I do not know who made it, and I apologize. I'd love to give them a shout out, but again, scripts. Find yourself doing things lots of different ways. Sorry. Kevin's like, Paul, it's not your session. Time to move on. Sorry.
Oh my.
Sorry.
All right.
Sorry there, Kevin. Kevin is he's a cop for Halloween apparently today.
A cop?
So I'm just kidding, because he's like keeping me in line.
All right, cool. So this is gonna come later in the session, I think, maybe like tomorrow or Thursday. But I just like put together a packaging copy deck for what needs to be on the package. So it just has like the front panel copy, which says like chicken and vegetables, and then it has like the ingredients, vacuum sealed food for a nutritious space travel, and like the, how much is in there and blah blah blah. So usually you would get this from the client. So they would give you like a whole copy deck that you get to lay out however you want. but there would be like kind of rough guidelines on like what needs to go in the front panel, back panel, and the bottom panel if we have a bottom panel. So I kind of like did it for an entree, which I'm gonna name chicken and vegetables, and kind of like a snack, which I will name trail mix. So that will come later, I think. Today I just wanted to focus on just purely branding, because I feel like branding is really important if you want to be able to use those elements in packaging, whether it be structural or graphic later on. So as long as we have like a solid base for the logo type and the word mark, I think it'll be really easy to flesh everything out later.
I think that sounds good. I mean, yeah, everything kind of falls into place if you have good, strong branding essentially.
Totally.
Yeah, this is interesting.
Cool.
I'm playing with my script over here.
That's actually really useful. That would take like a day.
Forever.
Yeah.
We showed this at Sneaks, by the way, something similar.
Cool.
Which was essentially for Sneaks. It was called I can't remember the name of it, but essentially you defined the shapes. So it was a bunch of flowers and different things. And then you said, fill this larger shape with all these other shapes that I've drawn. This one just does circles, but we had one that would fill it with anything that you want.
Wow.
So.
It's amazing.
Stop with the holes. I'll stop, Helen. I'm sorry, Helen.
Wait, how do I take this back? All right. Should we start?
Yeah, I think so. I'm starting.
Okay.
I'm already starting to
like
offend people with circles. Like, I had no idea circles were so controversial. But
they're everyone's favorite shape.
it should be. I mean, it's like a perfect circle. Come on now.
Mine. Okay, wait. Paul, help. How do
Yeah.
I?
Oh, sorry about that.
See, I forgot my shortcuts already.
There you go. It's all good.
Okay. So before I start with this rough creative brief, I usually like to kind of form a mind map of sorts. So like in my sketchbook, I'll start writing kind of words that come into mind when I'm reading this brief, whether it be like the function of the packaging or like just food related words or space related words or like innovation related words. So that's kind of like what I started doing in my sketchbook. I don't know if I can show this. Can I show this?
Yeah, let's get it set up a sec. We'll grab his little GoPro. You just
It's this one. Sorry.
hang out. Should we grab this bad boy? You are good. Design me. Well, I don't know where you want me to focus, but yeah, there we are.
Oh yeah, thank
Yeah.
you. Yeah, so I just like put together a few words. So like when I think of the word space, I think of like zero gravity. That's kind of what I was thinking about. The donuts floating in air or something. So it's a little no order, kind of almost chaotic, but more organic, I would say. Things are floating around, weightless. Maybe we can kind of use planets as in a non-cliche way, so maybe just taking the pure form of a circle or like a extruded circle or something like that. And then I was thinking of innovation, holographic foil or like something like that, silver and metals, maybe like using simple deconstructed shapes to create a symbol or something like that with a little bit of weird. And then I was thinking food, and then so food is usually related to warm colors because that increases your appetite. So maybe that's something that we can bring into the color palette. It's gonna be freeze dried, so maybe there's something there. I'm not sure yet. And then I think we can play around with organic shapes as well. That kind of ties back to space.
I just had an interesting idea, since we're kind of thinking out of the box about this being the future. What if even the packaging is like organic and edible or something like that?
Yeah, like that water blob that someone made. Did you see that? It's like a
no.
water blob. It's like a water vessel, but it's made out of like edible plastic almost, or like a.
So it could be like or I feel like rice paper or something like that could easily be.
Yeah.
But that's what it is. It's like edible.
Yeah. So it's like a little water balloon, but you can eat it, which is really cool. Not unedible, but it's edible. So it's based on these kind of like vast topics. I put together four. Oh, sorry. Here. I put together like four main topics that I think we could focus on. So I think there's something interesting that can be done with the initials like O and E. So maybe it's deconstructing those forms and then putting them back together in like in a totally new way. Or we could play with, planets and asteroids, just simple geometry using a circle or some sort that's interestingly laid out. Maybe floating letters, all that stuff. And then kind of what we talked about, like making the E a weird letter form that it can be extracted and used as a symbol on its own. So that kind of like ties back to scalability. So, if you usually, because you have small applications that you need to use sometimes, like if it's on device, it might need to be a little bit smaller or something like that. So it's really nice to have an alternative to just a word mark. So I think that would be cool to explore.
Definitely. And it's interesting that, thank you. We tend to start with, you said of Earth, and I immediately typed that, into Illustrator and started to play with it. And maybe that's a good place to start. It seems like the most straightforward place to start. And I like what you just said. It's like you just might end up with an E, and that's the element.
Yeah, there's no rule that it needs to be O and E, because it could be one word, it could not be. I mean, if you're a client, they usually have a preference, but in this case, I'm the client, so I can do whatever I want.
Yeah, so I could do that. Kevin, you just mentioned applying colors to a selected number. So I could take all these elements and shift select, like all these colors and say script and random swatches fill out of those 7 colors. And now I've colored it. So again, that's another fancy one, fancy script to.
Oh, whoa.
Isn't that kind of neat?
Yeah.
So all I did is select. So I want to go with, let's go with an orange, a pink, and then a teal. Or let's just select these 3 colors, for instance, get a green in there. And then the script is called Random Swatches Fill. Sans Kevin mentioned that. Hopefully that's all right. Boop. Even though people have a problem with circles.
I think it's just small circles together.
Isn't that cool? Oh, thank you. Laura likes it. Thanks you, Laura. Thanks you, Laura. Sorry.
It's that coffee.
Tricks up my sleeve. Oh, Physics Pack. That's the name of the sneak that we showed that will take whatever you've illustrated and fill it inside of a container.
Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna explore typeface options at this point. So this is, what every designer does, just duplicate a bunch of times, and then we'll see what feels right.
Can I, since I'm full of tricks today, let me also show you this. Since you're going to be playing with fonts and everything and getting that set up. This is kind of fancy what we have here, right? So what did I do? I don't know, just typed in some letters. Yes. A color font. Yeah, pretty cool, huh, guys? So what this is there we now have multicolor fonts available in Illustrator. So there we go. Thank you. Voodoo Val appreciates circles. But isn't this awesome? I did not make this. I'm going to have to... Oh, this was... I think this was Maria Grunlund. Might not be saying her last name correctly, but she actually did packaging for us for Adobe at one time. But it's kind of fun to show. That's all. All right. Let's move on. I typically go with a Helvetica and Mu. And then design based on that. Yeah, there's a ton of these fonts, by the way. If you want to see more, I can show you more. Let me show you some more, if that impresses you. And while you're working, because I know you got to kind of sort through a lot of fonts, kind of takes some time.
Yeah.
But check this out, like this font here. Let's see what else I have. Here's another one, Playbox, that someone made. The Aries font. Should be all caps. Hold on. Wait for it. So there's only a couple of color fonts that I have. Oh, this is the one I like, this Aries font. This is absolutely awesome. Very cool. Multicolor fonts. I did a live stream on it yesterday where I actually made this 3D font, and it's actually called 3D. So let's just see what that looks like. This is the font I made yesterday. Cool.
Whoa.
Kevin votes for all uppercase with big spacing. Sans serif bold. Big spacing. Cool. We can do that. Font self. Thank you so much, Tim. So this is font self, and this is kind of how I made the font. Just select a character, drag it in here, assign it a character. Don't you like this? This is a multicolor font. Yes. Cool. Oops.
Bro.
Cool. Oop. Oh, it'll switch to Myriad. Isn't that neat though?
Yeah, that's
it's
cool.
An actual multicolor font in Illustrator.
How do you change the colors on that?
Well, at this point I'd have to break it up, and that's how I'd change it. So,
okay,
but the fact that it is a multicolor font, kind of nice.
That is impressive.
All right. Yeah, color font week. Let's see what you got. There we go. See, and I'm already screwing up because I should not be playing with color right now. Right?
Yeah,
As anybody would say,
right?
they're like, Man, so this is the problem, because you showed us that E that you really liked.
Is it stuck in your head?
And that's stuck in my head.
I know. That's why I try to put in like the least amount possible.
I know. Now I'm all jaded and I just want to recreate it.
I know. I was tempted to. I was like, that is perfect.
I know.
Why is it there already?
Why does it already exist? I'm still gonna try. I like the concept though, so I'm gonna. Is it okay if I design with you?
Of course. Right? Yeah.
Okay.
We're in this together.
We are. We're in it together, guys. And let me actually. I'm gonna get something moderately okay, and then I want to show you guys about the contest.
Kind of like what's going on here with this is a font called PX Grotesque, which is really cool, and I feel like there's like a really good tension between angles, like right angles, and also curves that you see inside the counters. So I think this could be really cool to work with for one of the concepts.
Question is, does silverware exist in the future?
Or are you like Edward Scissorhands?
Are we eventually all gonna be, are we all gonna have really long fingers and big eyes and small mouths, like depicted in any picture of any alien? Are we basically gonna turn into aliens in the future? Like the aliens that are depicted in science fiction, that's actually us in the future.
Could be.
Did I get deep
you
on
never
you?
know.
Yeah.
Kind of like having it on two lines as well. It seems like there's a interesting relationship here.
Oh yeah, that's nice.
And this way it could, if it's like stacked like this, it could always anchor. There could be a rule where it needs to anchor on like the right bottom or the left bottom. So like those are things that you would usually do in the brand guidelines, I'd say. But it's kind of like interesting to think about while you're designing.
All right, so let's do this. While you do that, I'm gonna let everybody know about Adobe Dimension. So essentially, guys, we have a contest going on. As you can see, if you go to contest, this contest tab kind of has the rules. So let me pause that. But right up here, contest. Make anything around packaging. Just put a logo on a 3D object, render it, post the ping file as a link. Right. So that's what you have to do, and that's what I'm going to do right now, essentially, using Dimension. Because I already kind of hacked together a logo. So this is the kind of like, quick.
Yeah.
First of all, this guided tour is fantastic, by the way. So check that out for sure, because I think it's the best job in any that we've done for any app in taking you through something. City backdrop. This looks like the most like some maybe futuristic something. Let's grab a model. So in this case, we'll do a tall box. Right up here, zoom to fit selection. Obviously I can scale this down, adjust it any way I want, but what I want to do is I want to put our fancy little package, and I'm going to center the position so I can rotate it from this like center point like that, and I'm going to slap the logo on here. There we go. From there, what I did is from Illustrator, just brought this into my Creative Cloud library, Right, here it is. I just called it OE, of Earth. It's right over there. Take that, slap it right on that object. And then adjust accordingly. So that's all I'm doing.
Oh, wow.
There it is on
That was quick.
the package. See?
Can you make that like a silver foil?
Yes. Good idea. Good
Just out
idea.
of curiosity.
You can. It's already actually a little shiny, but
Yeah. it has a
so here's
shape.
the tall box. There we are. So here's the box material. Metallic. I can crank up the metallicity, which is totally a word. It's like super metallic, but we want to make this like a foil, so this is what I do in that case. Let's take this. Let's do this. Basically, it needs to be its own little file. Sorry, I've been ignoring the chat. So essentially what we're making is we're making futuristic product around food. It's our futuristic
Food for space travel.
food for space travel. You know how you traveling through space, you get kind of hungry.
Yeah,
What do
need
you
a
reach
snack.
for? You reach for a package of Earth because you're like, this says natural and honest and good and healthy and all the keywords you said earlier.
Totally.
So hopefully that gets everybody up to speed. But do you like mine? Look, I did the O and the E, so it's like this is the Earth and this is the moon, and this is the O and this is the E.
That's great.
Oh,
I think you just did my work for me.
nailed it.
I can leave now, right?
No, this is probably lame. You know how you like think you have a good idea and you go and you're like, and then you go and you even are ashamed to show it to somebody.
It's like that with
So.
like I feel like all first ideas.
Yeah.
That's what happens all the time.
Hey, you know what though? Like when you start with an idea and then you try all those other things and then you end up back at your first idea, that's kind of a good sign.
Yeah, it means you, or it could be a good sign or a bad sign depending, because it might mean that you were stuck on that idea,
Yeah, that you're kind of stuck.
and then
on
you
it.
need to talk to other people and then see what they think.
Yeah.
I do that all the time too.
Yeah. All right, save this out. Music is playing in the background right now, by the way.
Oh,
How is it?
okay.
Hopefully it's good. I like the idea of somebody said clear packaging. Might be a good idea. Who knows?
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Box material. Opacity. So if I did want this to be clear, I should be able to load in that file. This little E up.
What material is that?
I just used it's just this default material for this box. But that also didn't work. So maybe it needs to be white and black, but that's why, yeah, it's all right. You guys will forgive me. Hopefully. All right. So, Mitch, been a while since you used 3D. Now's a chance to get into it. Again, we poll designers all the time, and like, what do they want to learn is 3D. So essentially, it's not really doing any 3D modeling. It's just doing the 3D compositing, if you will. Yeah, Hampus. Yeah, Dimension is the new name for Helix. Close. It's the new name for Felix. But I actually like Helix better as a, as a code name or whatever. Oh, Rhino 3D. Yeah. Ooh, I don't know what. That's a good question. I don't know what a gable top carton packaging is, Kevin. So.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that is either.
But
sounds very
just
structural.
dumb it down for me. All right. I like how we're both working on the same project, but it's cool because like I'm kind of starting at the other end where I'm already applying the logo to a 3D object, and you're working on the actual logo. So it's a good.
Yeah, it's
a
nice
good mixture.
Because I'll have to do that later too.
Mm-hmm.
I've been playing around with it a little bit, and it seemed like I think I learned it in like 5 minutes.
Yeah,
which is always a good
that's
sign.
about it. Oh, you have normals. Okay, so this is what I love. Let's just cancel out of this. If you click, this is what I love, like right over here. Yeah, thank you so much. Like, so, like, what is translucence? If you just roll over it, it'll say that's the light, the amount of light that's able to refract through the object. So it's the refraction of the light inside of the object. But that's what you do is you roll over each one of these, like control the roughness, of course how metallic something is, and I think that's really smart. They just made it visual and some text to read, right? It's kind of cool. I dig that. Okay. All right, sorry about that. Looking good so far. Stephanie has to take off. Stephanie, thank you for joining us. Oh, by the way, you guys, we're going to be giving away Creative Cloud just randomly, just because we can, at least once while you're here. And then also for the contest, we're going to pick, so we're going to basically review some designs that have not been reviewed before, and then we'll pick our favorite.
Cool.
You know,
what kind of design are we doing?
Could be anything. They could be doing any brand. They could be doing coffee. They could be doing tea. They could be doing space water. I don't know, what is space water? Man, can I have some space water? Creative Cloud hype. Val, it's good to see you. Good to see you in the chat. Oh yeah, metallic. Everybody loves Val. Know what I love too? Anytime we implement scrubby numbers. Right.
It's the best, especially on After Effects.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's a lifesaver.
I'm trying to implement just like a shiny box, but look, the shiny E. Look at my foil packaging. Shiny.
It's amazing.
Isn't it?
It's impressive.
Isn't it pretty?
Yeah.
I don't know why it... Yeah. Anyways, reminds me of... Oh, gable top cartons are like milk cartons. Cool. Oh, Helen, what are you doing? Helen is working with type for the first time and love the smoothing brush. Are you talking about in Photoshop, the latest version of Photoshop? The smoothing option? Nancy, what are you curious about what you're downloading? Download Dimension, be awesome. Dimension cannot render animations, Josiah, just so you know. Yeah. But good thought. Yeah, we could 3D. We could actually. Yeah, that's a good question. Can I? Like, you're really not doing any modeling in Dimension, which is why there's no export feature, right? Because you're not really modifying, or you're not really creating, you know, any sort of shapes. You can bring in shapes, but you're not really modeling in it. Shout out from the ammunition crew.
Oh my god. That's my coworker.
Oh,
She's an awesome designer too.
Lee, is that right? Am I saying that right?
Leah?
Leah.
Yeah.
Hi, Leah.
Oh, sorry.
Awesome
yeah,
designer. Shout out.
Yeah. Oh
That's
my
awesome.
God. Yeah, so what I'm doing is I'm just expanding the type that I've been experimenting with. And then I kind of want to play around with like a floaty type of feel. So I'm kind of like organizing them in an organic manner, just seeing like how the letter forms would fit into kind of like the nooks and crannies of each other. So like the A here, it kind of feels nice with like, you know, between the O and the F. But I also have to like keep in mind the legibility, because when you have a bunch of letters like this, it could be really hard to read. Yeah. So in that case, like I might have to distance Earth from of.
And like what other words are you reading? Like almost accidentally. What other word I'd like to read is actually eat, E-A-T.
E-A-T.
Yeah. So you see E-A-T.
Oh.
So of Earth, sure. But the last thing you want is like fear, you know? You
like
don't want to be
fat.
like, or ear.
That's what I'm reading now.
Of ear.
Yeah, right.
Earths.
Yeah, so like things like that you just need to be careful of.
Yeah, it's a good question. You guys, what are you guys reading? Oh, say Voodoo Val likes the floating look. Very anti-gravity. I agree.
Thank you.
I absolutely love that A, by the way.
Ugh, this is such a good.
And I don't listen to me, by the way, because I don't mean to screw you up by saying ear, because I really like the floatiness.
No, I value your feedback. It's hard to see.
But that A, I love how the A has that part of it's a little thinner. It's almost like it's getting hit by a highlight, so it feels like it's shiny and like part of it's washed in light, which is why the other side's thicker.
This typeface, it's called Chap. It actually kind of feels like a little like high-end fashion-y, just because of the contrast, and it feels like more modern and refined. It also looks really great in lowercase, but it has like interesting grooves going on like in the counters of the E or something like that. So I feel like it feels really nice as an uppercase. Yeah. But I could also try it with maybe, you know, who knows, like a serif might work too. So I could use no text, which is another awesome one.
That's fun. I mean, the floatiness is nice. It's nice that it's kind of initially you don't read of Earth. It's not as straightforward, and I kind of like that.
And then this could also do the same thing where it's, you know, responsive. So maybe you can have like O and E like that, and then it could have like of Earth at the bottom or something like that.
Yeah, that's true. What's that font again?
It's called Chap.
Chap.
Yeah, it's amazing. I love this one. I've been looking for an excuse to use it. And then I was like, oh, I can use it here.
Oh, that's fun.
Reading fart.
Yeah, it's like, or you could read art. It's amazing how many different words we're getting out of these.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of the fun of it, right?
Fart, ear, art, fear.
Okay, we might need to have it on two lines.
Speaking of random floatiness, we should have like a random giveaway of Creative Cloud. How about that?
Sounds good.
Ooh, thank you, Anton. You did another one. Did a chocolate milk space render. Awesome. Stroke box. This is fun. And like, there's so many different ideas. I'm kind of stuck online. I'm done.
You've accomplished something.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, I'm done.
Oh, now I'm getting like really self-conscious about what it says.
Ooh, that's nice too. Ooh, I love how that looks like it's floating above the Earth. Like the spacing there is kind of dope.
And like this is kind of like a planet floating above Earth.
Yeah. So many ideas. All right, so we're gonna do a random giveaway, which just means you need to say something in chat, like, "Oh, that's a nice font you got there," or "Hey,
nice hair.
Your hair is looking really good." Just let us know you're in the chat because we need to make sure you exist in order to pull up that random person. But we do need the Adobe Live team, and Adobe Live team is not here. Adobe Live team, it's a team of 40 guys. 40 guys, and all 40 took lunch.
Thanks, Michael. That's also my coworker from animation.
Oh, Michael?
Yeah.
Columbia in the house. Laura, I want you to win just because you're from Columbia and I did Columbia. All right. The 40 guys from the Adobe Live team have just shown up. And takes 40 men. Hey, we're a big production. 40 guys. Yeah, I'm just saying, hey, say something nice, like your hair looks fantastic, or that's a nice font, and I'm not reading fart in your logo. That's what we want to hear.
Thank you.
That's what we want. We'll take that for a compliment.
That's exactly
we're
what
such suckers. Like, we're just like, listen, like, oh, you gotta say something nice to us, or we're not gonna pick you. Like, who does that, jerk? Like, no, screw you.
Apparently we do.
Apparently we do. I'm like, screw you. Your hair is ugly. You're ridiculous. Like, great.
Gosh.
Yes. Oh, Mohammed's gonna win though, because he does say your hair looks so good.
There's a lot.
And your
of
hair looks
stuff.
good today too.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, you totally work for that. You need to be in front of the camera more often.
Oh my god.
Yes.
That would be a disaster.
No, I love it. Miriam, thank you. So yes. Yeah, Chap's the font. That's one of the fonts, and I love how you're doing this. It's blowing me away because we have so many different versions.
Thanks, Justin.
With us harassing you, and you're trying to read the chat.
No, this is great. There's so many of my coworkers on this that I'm very impressed.
Are they being nice to you?
They are. Justin just told me that I have a great hair day.
Oh,
and
I
usually
should know.
do not look like this.
Oh, really?
I'm usually a mess.
This is.
Oh my god.
This is what you usually look like.
Yeah, I'll say that.
You better. I'm the client. You better hurry up with that design. Hurry up and finish it.
or the hovering art director.
I'm like
You've
the
heard of
new
that?
Halloween version of the hovering art director.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going now.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, didn't mean to scare anybody. Guys, it was me. It was just me. It's just a mask. It's just a mask. It's fine. It's fine. It's not real. It's not real. Okay, we will be pulling a winner here in, say a minute or so. Does that sound good? 30-ish seconds. So far, what were people really scared of circles earlier? Voodoo Val, did you start that? Because the mascot has to be next level if people were scared of circles that we showed earlier. I don't know. It's not real, guys. This is how do you approach criticism? This is how I approach it. I just hide under my desk. And I wait for them to go away.
Very professional.
I'm very professional. All right, we're going to do the drawing for 1 year of Creative Cloud. Oh, yeah, that happens. So, as luck would have it, per usual, it's always a very hard name to pronounce. And congrats to Borja Acosta. Here we go. Let's just... There you are, Borja Acosta de Vizcaíno. Congratulations! The Adobe Live team will be contacting you through Behance, right? So congratulations, you win 1 year of Creative Cloud. That's awesome. Fantastic.
Congrats.
We love you. Everybody else is a little bitter at you. I'm just joking. Everybody's nice. Borja? It's kind of like Borja Acosta de Vizcaíno. So just say hello to us in the... There you are. Oh, there you are. Perfect. Thank you, buddy. Let us know where you're from. I'm kind of curious, Borja, where you're from, basically. Such an interesting name. But congratulations. You win 1 year of Creative Cloud. It's from Spain. Awesome. Sounds like a Spanish king. That's a cool Spanish name. Very cool, man. We're still working away. Client is like demanding things ASAP. We're like, okay, we gotta get this thing done. Fun too.
Yeah, so what I'm doing is I'm basically kind of tackling the 4 points that I had before at once. So this one, I was like kind of thinking of like a planet or an asteroid that's kind of like combined with the word mark somehow. So I thought it might be cool to take PX Grotesque, which is like the typeface that I'm using here, which has an interesting interplay of right angles and curves in like the counters of the A and the O. Tracks it out a little bit so it looks, you know, a little bit more refined. And then I played around with the width of these arms to make it feel a little bit more balanced. And then I thought it'd be interesting to have a filled-in circle that is approximately like the same height as the F part right here. We gave it a little bit of a leeway because since it's a circle, it needs to be a little bit bigger than what that actually is. So we gave that a little bit of an overshoot, brought it over to align with that part. And then I think it would be interesting to also have it as a hollowed out, like a ring almost. But to me, I feel like that kind of started to feel like it's a part of the alphabet. Like there's a weird tension between the circle here and the O. So I feel like it feels a little better when it's filled in.
Yeah, I think so too.
Right?
But the thing is like that font is already so interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know. It's like there's almost too many interesting things going on. Just
right.
You can ignore the peanut gallery here. You know, so is it on one line and then you have the circle? Because there's almost so much going on, or maybe it's just because maybe these things are fighting for my attention or what.
No, that's good feedback. Yeah, I think I know what you mean. Maybe it's a matter of like just putting of in a more sans, or like kind of like a normal sans serif, or without too much character. So this could be like, circular or Avenir or something like that, or Newhouse or something. So I think that could be interesting, and then that way it could be.
I really like that, like that down there. That's pretty tight.
Yeah, right. So I think it could be cool to have that, but it's also nice to have something as a set like this. So maybe on a bigger application, we could use a full word mark with a symbol. On a smaller one, or once it gains more traction, it could kind of convert to this like. Almost like an acronym. So I think that's something that we could really use in terms of packaging, because we have this like strong graphic element of a filled-in circle. So that could like, get blown up, get distorted on the packaging, become like blobs of color almost. So there's like a lot of flexibility there. So that's kind of like what I like about that.
Yeah.
And I was like playing around with maybe making the O like a perfect geometry. So like a perfect circle or something. I think that could be interesting. I'm not really sure. It's not totally resolved yet.
Or what if you kind of even based on, if you kind of scroll, back to the left, like you go the opposite direction instead of this little dot.
Yeah.
What if everything's in a big circle at some point? I don't know.
Sorry, come again?
It's just everything, you just have a big circle and then it's inside of the big circle. Maybe kind of boring. Could be interesting, could be super boring.
Yeah.
That's why you shouldn't listen to me.
No, you're right. That's also my boyfriend.
Oh, Justin?
Saying that. No, Jinsu. Saying that I'm the best.
Jinsu?
Jinsu, yeah.
All I know is I thought it was Justin, because he's saying Cecilia is the best.
Well, he said that before Justin, see?
Oh, gotcha. I read both those.
But very appreciated.
We're picking up what you're laying down.
Yeah, totally. And then I thought it might be interesting to play around with rotating the O a little bit. So it kind of plays around with the contrast of the thickness. At the same
feels
time,
very orbital.
It feels like kind of weird, which is kind of what I'm trying to go for.
Yeah, it's definitely like not boring.
Kind of awkward, but interesting tension. So I think that could be cool. We could also take this graphic device and then.
I mean, it feels very orbital with that.
Right. And then maybe on the packaging, we could have something like that kind of blown up and then abstracted. Could be cool. There's a lot of things. I'm not quite sure how I feel about this one. Feels a little too angular.
Yeah.
Like almost like a tech brand.
Yeah. Like I could see, like the E there. Yeah. I mean, it's not like keep it around. I like that it's different than the others, and that's I think its strength.
I'm just like wary of like making things look too tech, just because like I work in San Francisco, and I feel like that's what we kind of fall to.
That's what we do.
Yeah. Okay, Laura's saying we can put the E in the center of the 4 O's, which might be interesting, but we probably need more spacing. I could see this like being an interesting pattern. Maybe it could be like a silver foil stamp on the packaging or something like that. I don't know. That's a little weird.
I like how we're just kind of doing some designs. Guys, hopefully you guys are doing designing as well. Doing some designs. That's one sure way to potentially win 1 year of Creative Cloud, is really just to try out Adobe Dimension. Because why not?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Oh wow. You're doing some cool stuff.
Oh, well, thank you. Trying to do weird planetary things. I might see what this looks like. So I'm kind of taking it, and applying it to the packaging essentially is what I'm doing.
Totally.
Just because that's how you can enter the contest. What do you do when you work? Do you listen to music, or what do you?
Yeah, I usually listen to music a lot. I feel like it kind of becomes background noise.
Right.
When working. But I listen to a lot of hip hop.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, I feel like the beat helps me work at a steady pace.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's cool. I think the beat is important.
It
Sometimes
is.
the actual music, if there's a lot of singing, it's kind of annoying. I actually prefer a good beat.
I agree. Yeah.
Right.
Could try.
I'm still working on my space packaging. And with that done, actually let's remove it from there. I could take the object from the library. Here it is, just from Creative Cloud or the library. There's an Illustrator directly to my object is the idea. Let's make sure it's selected. Dropping it on is the idea. There we are. So what I did have to do there is I did have to make sure it's selected. I can kind of get this rotated into place, but there's just so sometimes if you depending on the shape that you're using, it could have multiple elements. So this is a box, but it has tape and the actual box itself. So I had to make sure the actual 3D element I wanted to apply the texture to is selected. So just keep that in mind. And again, here's my space packaging that I can render. Feel free, you could even just do a screenshot. It doesn't have to be that high quality of a render, because it might take time depending on what you're making. Ooh, Voodoo Val listens to rain sounds or audiobooks. That's good.
I like that.
Or Macedonian techno. Sure. Is there any other kinds? So there's my E. How do you present concepts usually? Because we're going to get these ironed out, and then I could imagine we might have a couple that maybe we vote on as a group.
Sure.
They were talking about that earlier, by the way.
Yeah, I think
yeah,
that'd be
Nick and Michael were talking about presenting concepts, how many you present, that sort of thing.
Yeah, I think it's usually when you're working with a client, we use kind of present maybe 3 to 4 options depending on how many we actually come up with, but I feel like that's a good ballpark to present to them. As long as they're pretty different. What's which one?
Oh yeah. Oh, I like the F. I like the F. Whoop.
Oh yeah, the tail.
Yeah,
Super
fancy.
nice.
Everybody has a favorite.
But I feel like when we're putting together the deck for a presentation, we usually kind of preface the whole thing with competitor research and kind of cool brands that are out there. So we would kind of go through 3 or 4 brands and why they're working right now with the demographic that they're targeting. So we would kind of go through everything, what works, what doesn't work, what they're doing, all that stuff. And then we would show the word mark of each one with the lockups together, just a symbol, kind of in 3 different pages, I'd say. And then after that, we would show mock-ups of whatever is relevant to that brand. So say if you're designing,
you do it for all 3. If you're you do it for all 3. Here's 3 concepts. Here's how they kind of play out.
Exactly.
Okay.
Because I think it's really important for the clients to actually see it in context. So I don't know, if you're designing a camera, like you would stage the logo on the camera, what it looks like close up, and then like what it looks like on business cards, what it looks like on the website, on the app if they have one. So that's kind of like, you know, how we work.
Mm-hmm. And I'm, you know, somebody asked for, you know, can you show some? Well, I've already posted your Behance. They can search your name, but here's Cecilia's Behance. I just kind of went through this. So this is kind of what you did. It's like, here's the concept, going through, here's what it looks like. Should have played out.
That was a long time ago, though.
It's fine. Yeah. I know, it's always very sensitive. Like, you know, your portfolio, you're like,
It is. I'm like, oh my God, it was such a long time ago. But that company is actually they work with Bitcoins. Which is,
they work with Bitcoins,
yeah.
which is the currency of the future.
Which is what I'm getting paid.
You're getting paid in Bitcoins.
Yeah, right. But on my website, there's more relevant examples about like how we show
okay.
that.
Let's go there.
So if you scroll a little bit, if you can scroll to the bottom where there's an app. Go down. Sorry. Yeah, that one. So this one was kind of like a thorough project that we did. It was for a company called Nuzzle, and then it's for like a smart collar for dogs. So I helped design the app for this and also the packaging, and then our industrial designers at Ammunition designed the collar itself. So this one kind of had the logo application on hardware, as you can see. Like, you can see the two like double ends on the device. And then we also had that show up on the app, so we would mock that up too, kind of like a rough idea of how it would show up. And then later on, we also have it on packaging, so how that translates in packaging as well.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. So usually, like, whatever you're actually going to be designing as the final deliverable,
it's pretty smart.
It's nice to show all of that up front.
Well, and this is where that comes into play, which is what makes this logo so smart, is that the N and the Z are basically the same letter.
Totally.
And you notice that that's kind of how it is, like even right here. So it's being viewed from different perspectives.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, we had they actually designed the logo before I started, but they did a great job doing that, and then I was able to like apply that across packaging and digital assets and all that.
Do you have any pets?
I do have a pet. I have a little dog. Yeah. He's back in Toronto, though.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's very sad.
He can't afford rent here in San Francisco?
It's too expensive, you know.
Actually,
pet rent is expensive.
Is that a thing?
It's a thing. They make you pay pet rent if you have a pet, which is like, or like some places do, and it's like the stupidest thing ever.
Yeah, that is.
Yay, Toronto.
Toronto in the house. Out there and here as well. Did you grow up in Toronto?
Yeah, well, I was born in Korea, and then I moved to Toronto when I was 12.
Oh, wow.
And then I was there for, I guess, most of my real life.
Most of your real life?
Yeah, you know, like, after you can actually think and experience things.
Yeah. Well, people, that's still questionable for some of us.
It's very philosophical.
What do you mean thinking? What is this thinking you're talking about? So.
No, I didn't go to OCAD. I went to YSDN, which is a program between York University and Sheridan College. It's a really good program.
Oh, nice. Yeah, is that Ontario College of Art and Design?
It is, yeah.
And then there's Ryerson.
There is Ryerson. How do you know?
Because I go to Toronto a lot. I
literally
really just came from Toronto.
Wait, why?
Because we had a creative jam there.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, Toronto's awesome. I kind of miss the snow right now, which is bizarre, but I do.
Just a quick time check. We have about 40 minutes, and we need to review designs. Just
sure.
FYI. Yeah. So feel free. It looks like I only have 3, I think. 3 submitted designs this past hour. So thank you, Turkey. And Anton submitted another one, and Alexander. Thank you for that, but we are keeping an ongoing list. How many logos does she create? All of them, pretty much? Because you have a lot of artboards going on there.
I'm just trying out a bunch of stuff, and we'll see if they actually work or not.
What would you... Okay, so Kevin's pretty relentless with his gable top milk carton packaging. What would you put inside? It can be food or something else. Well, it's supposed to be our product inside of the milk carton.
Yeah. I mean...
Milk duds?
I don't know. That's a good question, I guess. It's hard to know. I feel like you need more context.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm like jumping back and forth. It's usually how it works because as I'm working on one thing, I'm like, oh, maybe I could do that on the other one. So I usually like have like 50 concepts going on at the same time.
Yeah, and honestly, there's a lot you can do, because you can go sort of the orbit route, the Earth route, the Earth being a circle, the Earth being a leaf. So is the leaf traveling around something? Like there's the O being a singular circle. There's 1,000. So many things you could do. But oh yeah.
I really want to make this one work. This floating thing. Sorry, I'm trying to...
I really like that font. That thin font you have right there.
It's really nice, right? This also feels like it's in the same area as chat, where it feels like kind of fashiony.
Yes.
And refined, which is kind of what we're
and elegant. It's just like so elegant.
It is. I wonder what it looks like in all caps. Yeah, I like the lowercase better. The R is a little weird on this one.
What do you think, art director?
Just trust me. I'm an artist. No. Trust me. You'll thank me when we're in Cannes.
I'll thank you when you're in a can.
What is this?
It's our hovering art director.
Oh my god.
And then he just makes a bunch of snide remarks and makes you really appreciate him.
I love it. Did you guys
make it more interactive?
Oh my gosh. I've heard that one before.
Just trust me. I'm an artist. No.
Alright, you. But pretty cool. Pretty cool. Oh, I'm gonna get to work. Feel free, maybe you guys are designing as well.
Yeah, let me know if you guys have any ideas. I'll try it out.
Yeah, I don't want to like be bossy and like ordering you around. I'm gonna try some of my own ideas.
You don't want to be like the art director?
I feel like I'd turn into that guy. Like, hey, what do you think of this? Oh, why'd you do that? Oh, that's what I suggested yesterday. That'd be your response. Like, really? This is what you told me to do.
No, I used to say that all the time, and then I realized that I was saying the same thing.
Oh, yeah.
I need to stop.
I really liked some of those fonts you're using.
Yeah.
The F. There was one with an F that kind of broke the baseline, which is cool. So that's what I'm doing.
I'm kind of also feeling the mono typefaces because I feel like it brings out the technology side of what we're doing as well. So
the mono type space?
Yeah, like if it's like accurate mono or like maybe Founders grotesque mono. I think it could be cool. Let's see if I have the mono. Or we could, if this might be a little techy, so maybe we can use this on the packaging side, like when we're laying out ingredients, so that it kind of seems more like a formula.
I really like that. I like that tea.
It's a funky tea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that.
It's interesting because it's like this tail of the T is kind of like the arm of the R as well. It's an interesting relationship.
So, all right, Alexander actually has another update to his file, so that is cool. We'll be reviewing those here shortly, probably in let's see, about 10 minutes. We'll review designs, anything that you've created in Adobe Dimension, because it's a group effort. We're all working together.
It is.
Yeah. So yeah, get in those contest entries. Laura, hopefully it's working for you. Just make sure you're logged in, because if you're using your CC libraries, it's going to pull from your account. Should come up fine, but yeah, check it out. And not only that, let's see, in about 30 minutes we have Kenny Coyle coming up doing some more graphic design projects, like you can find out if you just search his name, quite frankly. In fact, he did the graphic for the contest that kind of posted there. You can see it right here, which I really like this. These colors are awesome. Right? Did you like those colors?
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, it's really nice. And that's smart with this little logo. M.
Oh, I like those illustrations.
Oh, that's fun, right? I'm like, oh, that's how you brew coffee? Roast it, dry it. Yes, good stuff. Very cool. Kenny Coyle up in about 30 minutes, but we're going to finish our project because you know what? The survival of the human race depends on this packaging and what we put in it. No big deal.
No pressure.
No pressure. Do you have a favorite font? Maybe partial? I know you really like the one you're using.
Yeah, I mean, I think I have a few favorite. I feel like it really depends on context. But I have a few like type foundries that I love and follow religiously.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I mean, Grilly type is amazing for, you know, all the typefaces that they have. I really like Letters from Sweden because I feel like they do pretty whimsical type that, like if you find the right chance to use something from there, like it's gonna be amazing. Optimo is good too, and what else is there? It's Good Type. Good Type has some interesting stuff too.
Good. And of course, you can always jump in and look at Typekit, because that's kind of where I'm jumping out to right now. Just a check of Earth. Oh, and here's another thing you can do, because what I was just doing, I don't know if you know about Wordmark it. Do you know Wordmark it? .it, wordmark.it. So basically what I was doing is I was in Illustrator, and this is what I'll do, like everybody does this, like you're kind of scrolling through. You can just go out to wordmark.it, come in here, of Earth, enter, and these are all the typefaces actually on my laptop.
Oh, wow.
That's what it's doing, is pulling from my system and shows me that type. So like, look at this one, this abalone. That actually is this is the interesting part. This is actually a multicolor font.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But this kind of gives me a nice little layout of that text using all my system fonts.
So it goes through your system?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, these are all my system fonts. And that one's rendering. So that's kind of neat.
That's really cool.
Wordmark.it.
That's super cool.
Giddy up. Giddy up might even work. I hate to say it, but yeah, it might even work. All right, so can you get the abalone font? I mean, do a search for it online. I don't know if I can give it to you. I'm not really allowed to, because it's not mine to give. But just do a search for abalone font. I can tell you who actually made it, and that might help. Should at least give them a shout out. But abalone font is the multicolor font, and it is made by oh yeah, that's right, Maria Grunlund. She's the one that created the font, the cool multicolor font.
Oh yeah, that one was really cool.
Yeah, even if it's just flat black, I think it looks pretty cool. You know, actually, one of my favorite fonts, I have it in here somewhere. It's called Moon. This font right here. It's just like, it has round. It's thin and just has like these rounded, you know, edges and stuff, like very clean. So,
that's really interesting.
but it's only in all caps version.
What's that? Are those like emojis?
This big one.
No.
These guys. This one right here. Yeah, that. I was working on my own font.
Oh.
So yeah, you can actually make your own color fonts. I only did a couple letters, but
Yeah.
that's what it kind of ended up with.
That's fun.
Super easy to do. On that note, this is something I'm going to try. Is you know, since we're dealing with the Earth, if you don't mind, I mean, I can show you guys how we do this. So essentially, I was thinking, you know, I need to make kind of like a 3D sphere in Illustrator. This is just a half circle, right? Nothing too special about it. I should probably actually turn it gray or a different color. But I can go up to 3D revolve, and once I preview, I actually want to revolve around the right edge, up, and there you have, you know, a 3D sphere, and you can kind of control the lighting and all that stuff. So might be helpful in this case.
I love mapping art onto that, and then making the sphere actually transparent, because that way you get like results that you don't expect that you would normally have to do in Cinema 4D.
Yeah.
But it's just like so much easier to do it in one tool.
Yes. Like, and you're probably thinking of something like sort of like the AT&T logo style, where you have lines wrapping around a sphere.
Yeah, but it could be anything. It could be text, it could be patterns, it could be, you know, lines and all that stuff. And we've actually used that a few times for like our branding projects, which is cool.
Yeah, that is way cool. All right, so let's don't switch to my screen just yet. Just want to see where we're at with some of these. Maybe a new one's getting entered in by our staff of 42 Adobe Live team members.
They all work as one.
Oh yeah, another one's coming in, so I like that. I think that's super clever. It's like a little leaf.
Weird.
Love it. good. So yeah, word mark's good tip. We showed some 3D. We can make some 3D type. We don't really need to here. I love what you're doing right there. You know, another thing is, like, there's so many ideas, and why am I... Can I get started on this? Something like this. Helvetica New. I love that font right there that you're using.
Yeah.
All right, so let's take a look. Good. A couple more. Thank you, Mohammed, for entering yours in as well. Appreciate that. We'll review a couple of these. I don't know, maybe give away Creative Cloud to a lucky winner. So make sure you get in your submissions now. Really appreciate it. And again, they could be screenshots. You don't have to wait for the full render. Thank you, Turkey. Anton, look at you entering in another one. I like it. Anton won today already, but he is still killing it. And what is this, Garfy? Is that, if I'm saying that right, I'm not sure. Appreciate, like, I feel like we have a lot of people from, I don't know, Garafi. A lot of people from overseas. Mohammed. Awesome. All right. I'm ready to review some of these. All right. Look at this. Fantastic. Yeah, kind of going through some of these. All right, so starting with actually the newest, we have Mohammed's Adobe Creative Cloud shampoo. Creative Cloud hair care. I like it. It's got a little reflection there. Sure, why not? So what are you saying, shampoo? I don't know. I feel like, is that a dig? Like I need to wash my hair or something? But thank you, Mohammed. Awesome. Great job. Good color scheme. I like the use of the type. I think this is a good all-around ad. Fantastic. Could be anything you want, so that's what this is probably going to be around. Ha, ha, ha. Everything. So Alexander. We have Tuscany Milk, Rufus. How does he get a 3D model of Rufus?
You remember?
Well, I remember. Oh yeah, I remember that. I remember getting this done, but I don't remember. I didn't know he gave out the model.
He shared it on some point.
Oh really? This is too much. So this is my boss. This is Rufus Deutschler.
Oh.
And so what do they do? Tuscany Milk package here. Tuscany Milk. He lives in Tuscany. It's like more bottles, more packaging.
Wow.
Garafi? Ooh. It's kind of cool.
What does it say? Space drunk?
Space drunk. Space food.
Nice.
Yeah, I don't...
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if this is... That's my question. Like, I don't know if this is made in Dimension.
Yes, yeah. I recognize the model.
But even this box, have you
Yeah,
seen the box?
I recognize this too.
Like the offset?
Yeah.
Wow, great job.
Good job.
That was Garafi, pretty sure. Yeah, Garafi, fantastic job. Turkey, Turki.
What is this? Whoa.
Hey, why not?
What is that?
I don't know, and I do not know. It seems kind of like it's a project that may or may not have been made before. But he obviously knows 3D, so hats off to him. It's cool. Just got some cables kind of coming out of the background. Good render. Good render, guys. Good job. Good job, guys. Good job. Good work. Good work. We do have to decide on a winner. We'll wait for any other submissions. Oh, did I show this one? I didn't show this one. Is this... Who's this? Anton's? Yes, this is Anton's Space Milk. Like, don't you hate it when you're out on a spacewalk and you spill your milk out of your octagonal octahedron?
Chocolate milk.
Your chocolate milk out of the octahedron.
Specific.
Oh man, I got my chocolate milk. Nothing you could do. So yeah, it's out there. But good times. Fun stuff, buddy. Fun. Garafi did a great job. You're right, Tim. So yes, like Kim just mentions, you can use SketchUp, you can use, again, Cinema 4D, whatever. Strata Studio, they're still around. Did you know that?
Strata.
Do you know Strata? Do you remember Strata? No. Strata Studio Pro was it was the closest thing to Photoshop doing 3D. So friendly. The interface was so friendly. So that's what you used back in the day. We're talking 20 years ago. Anyway. You can make 3D in any, really anywhere. What I want to point out is you can use the models already baked into Dimension, which are right over here, or even find your own through Adobe Stock. And this is just a quick little tip. You can come up here to 3D, just select that 3D, and then just hit Enter. If you just hit Enter with nothing in that field, it'll list out all the materials and all the objects. Now, if I do just want objects, I can switch this to models. So nothing in the search field, just show me everything. And you can see maybe the space chocolate milk came from this. Or this one, actually. But you can see I've licensed some of them.
Oh, wow.
But these are all the models out on... Yeah, this is everything out on Adobe Stock. All right. Bag. Yeah.
Oh wow, that's a lot of things.
Yeah, quite a few. You need a digestive system? Sure, there's one right there. What about a fidget spinner? Sure, right there.
Oh god. Of course there's a fidget spinner.
Right. Do you own a fidget spinner? Do you own a fidget spinner?
Do I own one?
Do you have? I mean, I don't have one.
I am proud to say that I don't.
Yeah.
But my brother did, and he was very excited about that.
Yeah. Alright, very nice. Alright, 15 minutes. We have, this must be right over there. Kenny Coyle is up in 15 minutes. He's in here. He's getting warmed up. Looks like he's doing some stretches. He's doing his toe touches, working it, stretching out those hammies. 9 minutes. Yeah, we have 9 minutes to go.
Cool.
And you have to have it all done. Just kidding. But we do hopefully get to vote, kind of talk about our favorites and see which ways we're leaning.
Let me finish these up and then can do that.
There's even I just discovered a marijuana joint in Adobe Stock. It's fun. So many objects in here.
I can't believe there's a digestive system in there.
I know.
Like, what would you mock up on there?
I don't know. Well, yeah, maybe you would put that as part of an ad for some medicine. Because they always show the digestive system and
true.
lightning bolts or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like pain, lightning bolt, digestive system, pain in your abdomen. Just got to dumb it down for the public, saying, "Hey, I got pain in my stomach."
Yeah.
Hey, Paul Van Summeren, did you might have posted something? I guess we'll see. Anud, of course you love graphic design, but you cannot be a professional. Of course you can. Say why not? You're on the right track, but just by learning from professionals like we have today. With awesome Cecilia joining us for her very first time. Yes, we're putting her through the ringer, having her design live, and judging every single move she makes.
It is very nerve-wracking.
No pressure. We're like, make it interesting, be entertaining, right?
Talk and design at the same time.
You laugh, Kenny. Kenny's up next. He's ready to do it. He's stretched. He's feeling good. Did his stretches.
All right, so I think we can just go through these pretty quickly.
Oh wow, I really like that first one too. By the way, the one on the left.
This one.
I kind of like how simple that one's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
I love this one on the right as well.
Yeah, I think this one is probably my first option. Just because like I feel like it has a good balance of feeling kind of techy, but also it feels kind of weird, and there's like a simple geometry of a circle in there that we can expand onto packaging and branding elements later on.
Mm-hmm.
I've also tried to make it responsive on smaller applications by just taking the initials of O and E, and then we just kind of extracted it here. If need be, I think we can also supply the option of stacking it, just for something where the logo is a standalone object, like on a business card or on some printed collateral that we might do later on. So that's option 1. Option 2 is just a simple word mark that's based off the font Circular. So Circular is really good because it has very nice and solid geometry. So what I've done is I've kind of like amplified that by making the O a perfect circle. So it kind of like goes back to, like planet Earth or like space or whatever. So I made that a perfect circle. Everything else I've tweaked a little bit just to get the balance right, and then I've played around with tracking, but all in all it's pretty true to kind of like out of box. This one I was playing around with 2 typefaces. Can't remember what this was called, but I'm sure I can dig it up. And this one is based off
Dig
GT
it up.
Sectrat.
Earth.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But I thought it might be interesting to have like the E kind of wobbly and a little
I
eccentric.
like that it looks like a leaf, right?
Yeah,
The center
yeah.
there totally
could
looks
be
like
a lot of
leaf.
things,
So it
yeah.
goes back to nature mood boards that we're referencing constantly.
like fresh, And I feel like it might be interesting if you just take the E and blow it up. I don't think it's fully resolved yet, just due to the time that we had.
Can you hide mine?
I had something that was a little
I
bit
liked
floaty.
it, but again,
I don't know. I just realized that this is fat again. Fat ear. There's a lot of
and
things
fat ear.
Oat.
Oat.
Or
It's like a
so-
game. Wow.
Yeah, it's like a
kinda
crossword
fun.
puzzle. Yeah.
Fat
so
ear.
I don't know. I tried, guys.
I love that font. I wanted it to win, but you're right. It's too.
So close.
Yeah,
but so
there's
far.
a lot going on there.
Yeah, so I won't do that to you guys. I tried a bunch of other stuff, but I feel like those are kind of like my 3 strong contenders of this time. It'd be great if you guys have like a preference, if you guys have any opinions. It always helps to have third-party feedback.
Yeah, and we'll pick this up tomorrow too, because we only
Totally.
have like less than 4 minutes
Yeah, it's
to
true.
wrap this up. But we were gonna pick a winner too. of the designs that we saw.
Yeah, and I might need to do some tweaking on it anyway, so.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
So this is kind of where we're at. We'll kind of flesh these out. We'll see what happens tomorrow. She's going to join us at 1 p.m. PST, which would be awesome. So that's really good to see. And just stay with me because we have Kristen and then Paul's design. So these last two, this is Kristen and then Paul. So here's Paul. Paul Van Summeren did pizza. These pizza boxes totally works. Very practical.
Oh, yeah.
JJ Pizza, like it.
Looks pretty intense.
And then Kristen did some Studio Melissa Louise is what it looks like. And I really like how that looks. I think she did an excellent job.
Yeah, it's nice.
Did you want to pick a favorite out of all these? Because remember, we have this one, turkeys, Garafis. Oops, sorry, here's Garafis. Here's Garafis. He did a great job because that's like awesomely integrated.
Totally.
Anton's space. You know, don't you hate it when you spill your space chocolate
Common
milk?
problems happens every day.
Right. And then just the Rufus, which Tuscany, it's like has an American
That's hilarious.
hat on. And this last one, Creative Shampoo.
Cool.
Which one do you like?
That's a hard question. I really like either the studio, what is it? The one with the plant? Actually, they both have plants in it. This one and the colorful one with like the patterns on the shopping bag and everything.
Oh, yeah. Let's go back to that one. Sorry.
I think those two are my favorite.
This one and then
Space Drunk.
this one.
Yeah.
Cool.
What's yours? You get to.
I like this one because I think they matched perfectly the scene. That's why I think I like this one. And they even have this wrapping on the inside. So not as all the way around, but it's like this is pretty sharp in my opinion.
Totally. It's cool.
So actually, let's double check because was that Anton? Oh, that's Garafi's. I say we give it to Garafi.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Garafi! Yay, buddy! You get one of your Creative Cloud. Why not? There you go. You did a fantastic job. And a special shout out to Kristen, which was like just a last minute entry. We have 1 minute and 30 seconds. And Garafi, say hello to us. We'd love to see your name in the chat. Any closing words as we kind of wind down? How was your first day, your first experience?
It was great. I mean, I was really nervous at first, to be honest. But I think it was a really fun experience, and I'll be back tomorrow. So
yeah, there probably gets to be a point where you kind of tune out and focus.
Yeah, yeah, totally.
Yeah, that was so good. All right, Kenny Coyle's up next right now, so stick around for the next 2 hours. Cool. Thank you so much for coming. We'll see you tomorrow. Everybody stick around. Juan, Jan, Benedict, Kristen. Thanks, guys.